Hello friends, music lovers, Wes here checking in with a new episode of The Vinyl Survivor. This is where I talk about 5 albums that I pulled from my inbox, clean them up, give them a listen, let you know what I think of them. Let's go ahead and get into this episode. It's been a while since we did one of these, so I'm excited. Let's go ahead and talk about this first album. This is the 9th studio album from the band Genesis. This is titled And Then There Were Three from 1978. And Then There Were Three refers to the leaving of Steve Hackett, which meant that there were 3 people left in the band. This is quite a, I guess, a polarizing album with Genesis fans. I think the prog lovers didn't think it was prog enough, and the pop lovers thought it was too much prog. And for me personally, I love it. I love how it blends the pop sensibilities and the prog sensibilities together, and just I really love this album a lot. It's just incredible. It's a good long album. It's over 50 minutes, I would say. Just awesome, just proggy moments, awesome pop moments, just killer. And you know, Follow You. It ends with Follow You, Follow Me, which is probably the biggest hit on this album and one of my favorite, probably my favorite Genesis song of all time. Awesome album. So yeah, it's quite a polarizing one, not one that a lot of people love, I think. As I said, you know, the prog people don't think it's prog enough, and the pop fans don't think it's pop enough, but I love the blending of the two. And yeah, this one is definitely going in the collection, and this is on just your typical Atlantic label, and somebody put their initials on there, but this is a decent copy of this album. Just been having trouble finding a really super clean copy of this album. They all seem to be well loved. I don't know, just it's difficult to find a really nice copy of this album, but this one is pretty decent. Pressed at Presswell Records in Richmond, Indiana. PRC-RI or just -RI at the end of the catalog number. It's Richmond, Indiana plant, and it's got PRC in the dead wax. And that's about all I have to say about that one. Really, I love this Genesis album. So that's the first one going in the collection. Second thing I have to talk about today is the soundtrack to the musical Evita by Tim Rice. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's thundering and raining outside, so bear with me on that. But yeah, just the Broadway recording, I guess, of Evita, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Tim Rice, story of Eva Perón, and starring Patti LuPone. And this is just on a white sort of, I guess, custom label, pressed by MCA Records. Got a G with a barbell through it in the dead wax, so that's the Gloversville pressing plant, MCA pressing plant. And then you also get a booklet with the story and lyrics kind of thing going on here. You know, pretty well detailed packaging. I did not get past the first side of this double album set. I couldn't take it. I'm not typically, I don't really like opera at all, and I'm not really a big fan of musicals unless they're comical, I guess you could say. So this just was not working for me at all. I had to stop after the first side. So this one definitely not going in the collection. It was interesting to give it a try and see what it was about, but yeah, definitely not for me. So not going in the collection. Okay, next thing we have to talk about is the debut album from Donovan. This is titled What's Been Did and What's Been Hid. So this was originally released in the UK. Donovan's from the UK, and you know, it was released as What's Been Did and What's Been Hid. When this was released in the US, it was released as Catch the Wind. So this is not a US pressing. This happens to be a Canadian pressing on Marble Arch Records. So that's interesting, and it shares the same title as the UK pressing, What's Been Did, What's Been Hid. And he was Donovan was called the UK's answer to Bob Dylan, and this definitely has a very Dylan-esque sort of feel to it. Donovan sort of grew into his own style as time went on. Some of his later stuff is definitely not Dylan-esque, I would say. I grew into his own style. But this is very, very much folksy, Dylan-esque type music here, but really enjoyable, really good. I picked this up at the library book sale for $1.50. Has this stupid sticker on here that I don't think I'll be able to get off, but these 2 price tags I'll probably be able to get off. But a pretty nice copy of this. I'll go ahead and show you the vinyl here. Marble Arch label. Pretty plain looking, almost bootleggish looking, but I think this is an official release. But yeah, just a good, you know, if you're into early Dylan, folksy kind of stuff, you'll definitely like this. It's enjoyable, and it's kind of interesting to hear the beginning of Donovan. I mean, he was 19 at this time, so he's basically just a kid when he did this. So, good album. If you're into folk music, maybe if you find it, check it out. Okay, I've been doing a bit more research on this album while I was waiting for the batteries to recharge, and apparently this Marble Arch copy happens to be a Canadian Marble Arch copy. It was also released in the UK. This is apparently from 1968. It's a reissue, and there's 2 songs omitted from this pressing, which is Car Car, which was originally done by Woody Guthrie, and Donna was done by Richie Valens. So this is a later reissue that's missing some tracks, so not that interesting, I guess. Not as interesting as I thought it was, but still, those were 2 songs that he didn't write, and the rest of these songs are, I'm guessing, for the most part, songs he did write. So, but it's an interesting thing, and like I said, if you like early Bob Dylan, this is an interesting record. So I'm going to be keeping this in my collection. Next album we have to talk about is the first live album from Joni Mitchell from 1974. This is titled Miles of Isles. She was touring for Court and Spark, and these are some live recordings from that tour. And so you get a lot of her great hits here live. This is actually where Big Yellow Taxi sort of caught on, is this live version. You get her, Woodstock is on here, The Circle Game, You Turn Me On my Radio, Both Sides Now. Just a really good live album. 2 LP set here. Really nice packaging, some pictures of some lyrics there, and it's actually like a sort of a book style thing here. And this is on Asylum Records, SRC and the Dead Wax, that's Specialty Records pressing. So just a really nice live album from Joni Mitchell. This is, you know, dollar bin stuff all day long. Joni Mitchell albums tend to sort of wind up in the dollar bin a lot. Undervalued, I think, but excellent live album. Pick this up. It's an enjoyable listen. So this one's going to be going in the collection. Miles of Isles, Joni Mitchell. Alright, and lastly but not leastly, we have the 8th album from the band Queen from 1980, titled The Game. This is probably their most well-known album. Huge smash hits. I mean, you got Another One Bites the Dust, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Rocket, Don't Try Suicide, a big smash hit for them. This is actually a later pressing, I believe. The cover is not as metallic. The original pressing would be really shiny and metallic and mirrored finish. This is more of a printed silver color, but just a really nice, clean copy of this album. And I didn't pay too much, a few dollars for this. This is one of the last albums I bought at Here Again. Or not Here Again, at Hide and Zeke here in Gainesville before the owner Charlie died unexpectedly. Lyrics pressed on the inner sleeve, and then the couple photos of the band members. This is on sort of a white custom Elektra label. We have mastered by Alan Zent, stamped in the dead wax, and then there's also a flower in the dead wax, so that probably means this was mastered by Brian Gardner at Alan Zent Studios. He typically put a flower or a seagull in the dead wax on his work. So that's Queen is The Game. Definitely a classic Queen album, very, you know, some of their most accessible stuff, but some good sort of deep tracks, I guess you could say, on this one that that aren't hits that everybody knows. So an interesting album, and definitely going to be a keeper in my collection. So that was another episode of The Vinyl Survivor. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry this one was a little rough. I'm a little bit rusty on doing these and had some camera issues in the making of this one, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. And stay tuned. Please subscribe if you want to see future episodes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all again soon. Cheers.